Danny Cole was a simple man who wanted simple things. He wanted his crops to grow. He wanted his animals to stay healthy. He wanted someone to share his life with. The first two things were easy enough. The third thing was the problem. He lived on a planet called New Montana, far away from Earth. It was the year 2347, and humans had spread across many worlds. But New Montana was not a busy place. It was a farming world with big open fields and purple sunsets. The nearest town was 50 miles away. The nearest city was on another continent. Danny had lived alone on his farm for 15 years, and he was tired of it. He was 42 years old. His hair was going gray at the sides. His hands were rough from years of hard work. He was not a handsome man, but he was not ugly either. He was just ordinary. And ordinary men on empty planets had a hard time finding love. So Danny did something that many lonely farmers did in the outer colonies. He signed up for the Galactic Companion Service. It was a company that matched people from different worlds. You filled out a form. You paid a lot of money. And they sent you someone who was supposed to be perfect for you. Danny spent 3 days on his form. He wrote that he wanted someone kind, someone who did not mind hard work, someone who could handle the quiet life. He paid the fee, which was almost half of what he had saved over 10 years. Then he waited. 3 months passed. Danny checked his messages every day. He cleaned his house. He fixed up the spare bedroom. He even bought new sheets and towels. He wanted everything to be perfect when his companion arrived. The message came on a Tuesday morning. His companion would arrive that afternoon. Danny could barely contain his excitement. He shaved his beard. He put on his best clothes. He even picked flowers from the small garden behind his house. At 3 o'clock, he heard the sound of engines. A transport shuttle was coming down from the sky. It was not a small shuttle. It was a big cargo ship, the kind used to move heavy equipment. Danny wondered why they would send such a large ship for one person. The shuttle landed in his wheat field. It crushed a whole acre of crops. Danny winced at the damage, but he told himself it did not matter. What mattered was who was inside. He stood there with his flowers as the cargo bay doors opened. Steam hissed out. The ramp lowered slowly. Danny's heart was beating fast. A figure appeared in the doorway. Danny's smile froze on his face. The figure was tall. Very tall, at least 7 feet. It had blue and silver scales covering its entire body. 4 arms hung at its sides. 2 of those arms had hands resting on big guns in holsters. Its eyes were completely black, like 2 holes in space. When it smiled, Danny saw 3 rows of sharp teeth. It was not human. It was not even close to human. The alien walked down the ramp. Each step made the metal shake. When it reached the bottom, it stopped and looked at Danny with those black eyes. "You are Danny Cole," it said. The voice was deep but clearly female. Danny dropped his flowers. "There has been a mistake." The alien took out a small computer pad. She looked at it with her upper hands, while her lower hands stayed on her weapons. "No mistake. Galactic Companion Service. Order number 7749 Delta. Destination: New Montana. Recipient: Danny Cole. I am your companion. But you are not human," Danny said. His voice came out as a squeak. "No, I am Zara. I am of the Cathari warrior caste. I was a bounty hunter. Now I am a fugitive. And according to this paperwork, I am your wife." She looked around at the farm. Her nose moved as she smelled the air. This is a very flat place. Danny stood there for a long moment. His brain was having trouble working. He had ordered a wife. He had gotten an alien soldier with 4 arms and too many teeth. "I need to make a call," he finally said. He spent the next 2 hours trying to contact the Galactic Companion Service, but the company seemed to have disappeared. Their phone lines were dead. Their offices on the space station had been closed. Even their website was gone. It was like they had never existed. Danny sat at his kitchen table with his head in his hands. Through the window, he could see Zara sitting on his porch. She had taken out her guns and was cleaning them. She was humming something that sounded like a war song. After a while, she came inside. She had to duck to get through the door. She sat down across from Danny, and the chair creaked under her weight. "The company was a front," she said. "I used it to escape." Danny looked up. "Escape from what?" "The Void Serpents. They are a criminal group. Very dangerous. I worked for them as a bounty hunter for many years. Then they betrayed me. They said I committed a crime that I did not commit. Now there is a price on my head. How much?" Danny asked, not sure why he wanted to know. 50 million credits. Danny choked. That was enough money to buy a small planet. "So you just picked a random order and sent yourself here?" he asked. "Not random," Zara said. "I chose carefully. Outer Rim. Low population. Farming community. No one looks for killers on farms. You are a killer? I was a bounty hunter. There's a difference. Killers take lives for money. I only killed those who deserved it." She paused. Most of the time, Danny rubbed his face. This was not happening. This could not be happening. He had saved for years. He had dreamed of finding someone to share his life. And instead, he had gotten a wanted criminal from another species. "What am I supposed to do with you?" he asked. Zara tilted her head. Her scales changed color slightly, going from blue to a deeper shade. "I do not understand the question. You cannot stay here. The people who want you dead will come looking." "Yes, they will. Eventually." Zara did not seem worried. "But I have killed many hunters before. I will kill many more. Your farm is safe. My farm was safe before you came." Zara considered this. "That is true. I've made your life more complicated. For this, I am sorry." She did not sound very sorry. "But I have nowhere else to go. And according to the paperwork, we are married." Danny laughed. It was not a happy laugh. "The paperwork is fake. The company was fake. None of this is real." "I am real," Zara said. "I am sitting in your kitchen. I am eating your food." She had taken an apple from the bowl on the table and was chewing it with those sharp teeth. "Perhaps the paperwork does not matter. Perhaps what matters is what we do now." Danny did not have an answer for that. He watched the alien woman eat his apple, and he wondered how his life had gone so wrong so fast. That night, Zara slept on the porch. She said she needed to watch for enemies. Danny lay in his bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of an alien humming war songs under the stars. He did not sleep at all. 3 weeks passed, and Danny found himself getting used to things he never thought he would get used to. Zara tried to help with the farm work. She was not good at it. On the first day, she tried to use a shovel and broke the handle in half. On the second day, she tried to carry a bag of seeds and ripped it open with her claws. On the third day, she tried to milk a cow, and the cow ran away so fast that it jumped over the fence and did not come back for 2 days. "I am not built for this," Zara admitted after the cow incident. Her scales had turned a dull gray color, which Danny had learned meant she was embarrassed. "No," Danny agreed. "You are not." But she kept trying. Every morning, she would come out to the fields and ask what she could do. Danny would find her small tasks, things that would not break or run away. She carried water buckets. She pulled weeds with her bare hands. She stood guard over the chicken coop to scare away the wild birds that tried to steal eggs. The chickens were terrified of her at first. But after a week, they started following her around like she was their mother. Danny found this very funny. "They think you are a giant chicken," he said. Zara looked down at the birds at her feet. "I could eat them all in one bite. Please do not." "I was not planning to." "They are cute." She said the word like it was from a foreign language. "We do not have cute things on my world." At night, they would sit on the porch together. Danny would make coffee, and Zara would drink it even though it made her scales twitch. They would talk about their lives. Danny told her about growing up on Earth, about watching the big companies take over all the small farms, about leaving everything behind to start fresh on a new world. Zara told him about her home planet. It was a harsh place where only the strong survived. Children were trained to fight from the moment they could walk. Weakness was not allowed. She had been one of the best warriors of her generation. She had earned her place through blood and pain. "Then why did they turn on you?" Danny asked. Zara's scales darkened. "Politics. Jealousy. I was too good at my job. I made others look bad. So they invented a crime and blamed me for it." "What crime?" "They said I killed an innocent family, a mother and her children." Zara's voice was cold. "I have killed many people, but never innocents. Never children. That is a line I would not cross." Danny believed her. He did not know why, but he did. The attack came on a Tuesday morning. Danny was in the North Field, checking on the wheat. The crops were almost ready for harvest. Another week, and he would have enough grain to sell at the market. He was thinking about what he would do with the money when he heard a sound in the sky. He looked up. 3 ships were coming down fast. They were small and sharp, built for speed. Hunter ships. Danny's blood went cold. Zara appeared beside him. He did not see her move. One moment he was alone, and the next she was there, all 4 hands holding weapons that glowed with energy. "Go to the storm cellar," she said. Her voice was calm, like she was talking about the weather. "This will not take long. I am not hiding while you fight alone." She looked at him with those black eyes. For a moment, something changed in her face. It was soft, almost gentle. "You are a strange human, Danny Cole." The ships landed at the edge of the property. Danny counted 8 hunters coming out. They were big and mean-looking. Some had scales like Zara. Others had fur or horns or too many legs. The leader was the worst of all. He was massive, with gray skin and tusks that curved up from his lower jaw like swords. "Zara of Cathar," the leader shouted. His voice was so loud that Danny felt it in his chest. "You have a bounty worth more than this whole planet. Surrender now, and we will make your death quick." Zara's answer was to shoot him in the shoulder. The fight began. Danny had never seen anything like it. Zara moved like water flowing over rocks. Her 4 arms worked separately, each one aiming at a different target. She shot. She ducked. She rolled. She jumped. She was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The hunters tried to fight back. They fired their weapons. They threw grenades. They charged at her with knives and clubs. It did not matter. Zara was faster. Zara was better. Zara was death in blue scales. In less than 3 minutes, 7 of the 8 hunters were on the ground. Some were dead. Some were just hurt. The leader was on his knees, holding his wounded shoulder. One of his tusks had broken off during the fight. He looked up at Zara with fear in his eyes. Zara walked toward him slowly. She was not even breathing hard. She pressed one of her guns against his forehead. "I will let you live," she said. "But you will deliver a message. Tell the Void Serpents that Zara of Cathar is under the protection of a human. Tell them this farm is now Cathari territory. Tell them that anyone who attacks this place will face war with my entire species. Do you understand?" The leader nodded. Drool was running down his chin. Good. Now run. He ran. He climbed into the one ship that was still working and flew away as fast as he could. Danny stood in his ruined wheat field. The crops were destroyed. There were bodies everywhere. His fence was on fire. His tractor had been hit by a stray shot and was making a sad, whining noise. And he started to laugh. It was not a normal laugh. It was the laugh of a man who had lost his mind just a little bit. He laughed until tears ran down his face. He laughed until his stomach hurt. Zara watched him with confusion on her face. What is funny? Danny wiped his eyes. I ordered a wife, and I got an army instead. Zara thought about this for a moment. Then she made a sound that might have been a laugh. I suppose that is accurate. They stood together in the smoke and chaos. Danny looked at the alien woman who had destroyed his peaceful life and saved it at the same time. Thank you, he said, for protecting me. Zara's scales turned a bright blue. You are my companion. According to the paperwork. It is my duty. The paperwork is fake, remember? Zara was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, perhaps some fake things can become real, if we want them to. Danny did not know what to say to that. So he just nodded and went to put out the fire on his fence. Behind him, he could hear Zara picking up weapons from the fallen hunters. His life would never be quiet again. But somehow, that did not seem like such a bad thing anymore. The attack changed everything between Danny and Zara. Before, she had been a problem. A strange guest who had invaded his home. After, she was something else. Something Danny did not have a word for. She had killed to protect him. She had declared his farm sacred ground. In her world, that meant something. When I said this was Keth-Ari territory, Zara explained one evening, I was not just making a threat. In my culture, that is a binding declaration. It means I have claimed this place as my own, and everyone on it. Danny was eating dinner. He stopped with his fork halfway to his mouth. What does that mean, exactly? Zara's scales shifted color. Blue to purple to pink. Danny had learned that pink meant she was uncomfortable. It means, in the eyes of my people, we are bonded, like your human marriage, but deeper. Danny put down his fork. You married me? Without asking? I did not plan to do it. The words came out during battle. It is hard to control these things when you are fighting for your life. She looked down at her 4 hands. I understand if you are angry. You can reject the bond. It is your right. Danny thought about this for a long time. He thought about his empty life before she came. He thought about the years of loneliness. He thought about how Zara had started talking to the chickens when she thought he was not listening. He thought about the way she listened to him when he talked about his crops, really listened, like what he said mattered. I do not reject it, he said finally. Zara looked up. Her eyes, which were usually so unreadable, showed surprise. You do not? I ordered a companion. I got something different. But maybe different is not bad. He picked up his fork again. Let us just see where this goes. No rushing. No pressure. Just time. Zara's scales turned a deep, warm blue. You are a very strange human, Danny Cole. You have said that before. It keeps being true. Word spread quickly through the outer colonies. People talked about the alien gunslinger who had claimed a human farm. Some people thought it was a joke. Others thought it was romantic. Others thought Danny was crazy. The Void Serpents heard the stories too. They were angry that their hunters had failed. They were even angrier that Zara had threatened them with war. They put out a call to every criminal in the galaxy. Anyone who brought Zara to them, alive or dead, would receive 100 million credits. Danny heard about this from a trader who came to buy his grain. The trader was a small man with nervous eyes who kept looking at Zara like she might eat him. You should leave, the trader said. Take whatever you can carry and go. When that much money is on someone's head, everyone becomes a hunter. I am not leaving my farm, Danny said. Then you are a dead man. Maybe, but I am a dead man who is not running. The trader left. Danny stood on his porch and watched the ship fly away. Zara came to stand beside him. He is right, she said. More hunters will come. Many more. I have made you a target. You also saved my life. That counts for something. Danny made a decision that night. If trouble was coming, he would be ready for it. He asked Zara to teach him how to fight. She was surprised at first. Humans are not built for combat. You are slow. You are weak. You break easily. Then teach me to be less slow and less weak. They started training the next morning. Zara was not a gentle teacher. She pushed Danny hard. She made him run until he could not breathe. She made him lift weights until his arms shook. She made him practice shooting until his fingers were blistered. You are aiming at where the target is, she told him. You need to aim at where the target will be. Think ahead. Always think ahead. Danny was not a natural fighter, but he was stubborn. Day after day, he got a little better. He learned how to hold a weapon properly. He learned how to move without making noise. He learned how to use cover. He learned how to stay calm when everything around him was chaos. In return, Danny taught Zara how to farm. She was even worse at farming than Danny was at fighting. But she tried. She learned the names of different crops. She learned how to read the soil. She learned when to water and when to wait. In my culture, she said one day, we believe that creation is weakness. Only destruction has value. But watching these plants grow, there is something powerful about it too. A different kind of power, Danny agreed. Yes, the power to make life instead of taking it. She looked at her hands. They were covered in dirt instead of blood. I think I like this power better. Months passed. The farm grew. Danny and Zara fell into a pattern that felt natural. He would cook breakfast while she checked the edges of the property for enemies. She would handle the heavy work that was too hard for human hands. He would keep the records and plan for the next planting season. At night, they would sit together under the purple sky. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they just sat in silence. Both were good. One night, Zara asked, Do you ever wish I had not come? That you had received a normal human companion instead? Danny thought about it carefully before answering. No, I do not think I do. Why not? I have brought danger to your door. I have made your life complicated. My life was quiet before, but it was also empty. He looked at her, at this strange alien woman with blue scales and 4 arms and too many teeth. You filled up the empty spaces. I did not know how much I needed that until you were here. Zara was quiet for a long moment. Then she reached out with one of her hands and took his. Her scales were warm and smooth, like sun-heated stone. In my language, she said, there is a word for what you have just described. We call it Kethmar. It means the one who completes you. Do you think that is what we are? I do not know yet, but I would like to find out. They sat together holding hands as the stars came out. Somewhere in the darkness, enemies were gathering. The void serpents were planning their revenge. More hunters were on their way, but for now, in this moment, none of that mattered. What mattered was the warmth of Zara's hand in his. What mattered was the feeling that after years of being alone, Danny had finally found where he belonged. The storm was coming, but they would face it together. The day the void serpents came in force, Danny knew it was going to be bad. He was feeding the chickens when he heard the sound. Not the sound of one ship. Not the sound of 3 ships. The sound of many ships. Too many to count. He looked up at the sky and felt his heart stop. The sky was black with enemy vessels. There were small fighter ships. There were medium attack ships. And in the center of them all was a carrier ship so large that it blocked out the sun. Danny counted at least 30 vessels before he stopped counting. Zara was beside him in seconds. Her scales had turned a color Danny had never seen before. Dark gray with red patches. War colors. "You need to run," she said. Her voice was hard. "Take your vehicle. Go north. There are mountains where you could hide." "No, Danny, this is not your fight. You declared this farm Keth-Ari territory. That makes it my fight too." Zara turned to look at him. In her black eyes, Danny saw something new. Fear. Not fear for herself. Fear for him. His heart hurt to see it. "I have prepared for this day," Zara said. "There are defenses you do not know about. Weapons I have hidden around the property. But there are too many of them. It will not be enough. Then we make it enough." Zara stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded once and handed him a gun. It was heavy and warm and hummed with energy. "Stay close to me," she said. "When I move, you move. When I shoot, you shoot. Do not be a hero. Just stay alive." The first wave hit the ground running. There were at least 50 attackers in the first wave. They came from all directions, screaming and shooting. Zara's hidden defenses activated. Energy beams shot up from the ground. Explosives went off around the edges of the property. A force field flickered to life around the farmhouse. A dozen attackers went down in the first 10 seconds. But there were always more. Danny and Zara fought back to back. She moved like nothing Danny had ever seen. Her forearms were a blur. Her guns fired so fast that they made one continuous sound. Enemies fell wherever she pointed. Danny was slower. Much slower. But he did what she had taught him. He breathed. He aimed. He pulled the trigger. He did not think about what he was doing. He just acted. An attacker came at him from the left. Danny shot it in the chest. Another came from the right. Danny ducked under its claws and shot it in the leg. A third came from behind. Zara killed it before it could touch him. "Keep moving," she shouted. "Do not stop moving." They were pushed back toward the farmhouse. The force field was failing. Too many attackers were hitting it at once. It flickered and sparked and made a dying sound. "Inside," Zara ordered. They ran into the farmhouse. Danny's beautiful farmhouse that he had built with his own hands. Within minutes, it was full of holes. Windows shattered. Walls cracked. The roof started to fall in. "The cellar," Zara said. "It is reinforced. We can hold out longer there." They went down into the cellar. It was cold and dark and smelled like dirt. Danny could hear the sounds of battle above them. Explosions, screams, the horrible sound of energy weapons, tearing through everything he had worked so hard to build. Zara was hurt. Danny could see blue blood leaking from her side. She would not let him look at the wound. "It is not bad," she said. But her voice was weak. Danny was hurt too. A shot had grazed his arm. It burned like fire. But he could still move. He could still fight. That was all that mattered. The ammunition was running low. The energy cells in their weapons were draining. Danny looked at Zara and saw the truth in her eyes. They were not going to win this fight. "I am sorry," Zara said. Her voice was barely a whisper. "I brought death to your peaceful farm. You deserve better than this." "You brought yourself," Danny said. "That was worth any price." Zara's scales flickered blue. Even now, at the end, she could still be touched by his words. Above them, the sounds of battle suddenly changed. Danny heard a massive explosion. Then another. Then another. The whole cellar shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. But the sounds of weapons firing at them had stopped. New sounds filled the air. Ships. Many ships. But these sounded different. Bigger. More powerful. Zara's eyes went wide. That sound. I know that sound. What is it? Before she could answer, a voice boomed across the battlefield. It was so loud that Danny felt it in his bones. It was speaking in a language he did not understand. But Zara understood. Her scales turned bright blue. Her eyes filled with something Danny had never seen in them before. Hope. The HFY War fleet, she whispered. My people. They came. Above them, the Void Serpent ships were being destroyed one by one. Danny could hear them exploding. He could feel the heat from the fires. The enemy attackers on the ground were running, screaming, dying. It was over in minutes. What had seemed like certain death became victory in the blink of an eye. A shuttle landed somewhere nearby. Danny heard footsteps coming toward the cellar. Heavy footsteps. HFY footsteps. The cellar door opened. Bright light poured in. A figure appeared in the doorway. Another HFY, but older than Zara. Her scales had faded to silver with age. But she stood straight and proud, and she wore armor that marked her as someone important. Zara made a sound that Danny had never heard from her. A small sound. A broken sound. Mother, she said. The older HFY walked down the steps. She looked at Zara. She looked at Danny. She looked at their wounds and their weapons and the determination in their eyes. Daughter, she said, when you declared sovereign territory and spoke the protection rights, the signal went to our homeworld. Did you think we would ignore it? I thought I was exiled, cast out, shamed. You were falsely accused. We have learned the truth. Those who framed you have faced justice. The mother's black eyes moved to Danny. She studied him the way a scientist might study an interesting insect. This is the human you have bonded with? Zara straightened up despite her wound. His name is Danny Cole. He's a farmer. A good man. He taught me that creation can be power. The mother looked at Danny for a long time. He did not look away. He had faced an army today. He could face one more HFY, even if she was Zara's mother. Finally, the older alien nodded. It was a small movement, but it meant everything. Welcome to the family, Danny Cole, she said. You have chosen a hard path, bonding with a daughter of HFY. But I think perhaps she has chosen well. Danny looked at Zara. She looked back at him. They were both bloody. They were both tired. They had both nearly died. But they were alive. And they were together. And that was all that mattered. 6 months had passed since the battle. Danny Cole stood on the porch of his new farmhouse and watched his wife work in the fields. The new farmhouse was bigger than the old one. Much bigger. The HFY had helped rebuild it. They had used materials from their own world, strong metals and tough stones that could survive almost anything. The house looked like a small fortress now, but it was still a home. Zara was in the north field, tending to the crops. She moved carefully between the rows of plants, her 4 hands working gently. The crops were a new kind, a mix of earth wheat and a HFY grain that grew faster and produced more food. It had been her idea to combine them. Danny smiled as he watched her. 6 months ago, she had been a fugitive, a warrior with blood on her hands and nowhere to go. Now she was a farmer's wife who talked to chickens and worried about the weather. She was still the deadliest person Danny had ever met. But she was also the kindest. You are staring, Zara called out without turning around. Her hearing was much better than human hearing. I am allowed to stare. You are my wife. Zara's scales turned blue. She was still not used to hearing that word. I am still getting used to that. So am I. She finished her work and walked over to join him on the porch. She had to duck to get through the doorway, even though the HFY builders had made it taller than normal. She sat down in the chair beside him. The chair was specially built to hold her weight. "The crops are doing well," she said. "We will have a good harvest this year. We always have a good harvest now. Your grain grows twice as fast as Earth wheat." "My grain?" She made a sound that was almost a laugh. "I did not create it. The scientists on my homeworld did. But you brought it here. That makes it yours." They sat together in comfortable silence. The purple sun was setting over the fields, painting everything in shades of orange and red. In the distance, Danny could see the mountains where he had once thought about hiding. He was glad he had stayed. "Your mother sent another message," Zara said after a while. "My mother or your mother?" "Both, actually. Your mother wants to know when we are coming to visit Earth. My mother wants to know when we are giving her grandchildren." Danny choked on his coffee. "Grandchildren? Is that even possible?" "I do not know. The doctors say maybe." With help, Zara's scales shifted through several colors. "It is something we should talk about. If you want to." Danny thought about it. A few months ago, the idea would have seemed crazy. An alien child with scales and too many arms? But now, after everything they had been through, it did not seem crazy at all. "I think I would like that," he said. "Someday. When we are ready." Zara's scales settled into a warm, deep blue. "Someday. When we are ready." The Harvest Festival was coming up. It was the biggest event of the year on New Montana. All the farmers from across the continent would come together to celebrate. Danny had told Zara about it, and she had agreed to come. "The other farmers want to meet you," Danny said. "Properly, I mean. Without the guns and the death threats. I will try to be less scary. Do not try too hard. I like you scary." She reached out with one of her hands and took his. Her scales were warm against his skin. "You are a very strange human, Danny Cole. You keep saying that, because it keeps being true." The festival was 3 days later. Danny and Zara arrived in his old truck, which the Cathari had modified to be faster and stronger. The other farmers stared as they got out. Some had heard the stories about the battle. Others had not. All of them looked nervous when they saw Zara. She was trying to look friendly. Danny had taught her how to smile without showing too many teeth. It mostly worked. "This is my wife, Zara," Danny said to everyone who came close. "She is from Off-World. She is a farmer now." Some people warmed up to her quickly. They asked about her home planet. They asked about the battle. They asked about the strange new crops growing in Danny's fields. Zara answered their questions politely, even when they were silly. Other people kept their distance. They whispered to each other. They pointed. They looked scared. Danny did not blame them. Zara was 7 feet tall, with 4 arms and teeth like knives. Fear was a natural response, but by the end of the festival, most people had relaxed. Zara had helped carry heavy equipment that no human could lift. She had protected a child who had wandered too close to a dangerous machine. She had even won the arm wrestling contest, though Danny said that was not fair since she had 4 arms. "You cheated," said the man who had lost to her. But he was smiling when he said it. On the way home, Zara was quiet. Danny could tell she was thinking about something. "What is on your mind?" he asked. "I was thinking about how my life has changed. 1 year ago, I was a fugitive running from enemies. I had no home, no family, no future. Now I have all of those things." She looked at him with her black eyes. "Because of you, not because of me. Because of us. We built this together. Yes, we did." She was quiet for another moment. "I used to think that my purpose was to fight, to kill, to destroy. That was what my culture taught me. But now I think my purpose is something else." "What is that?" "To grow things, to protect things, to love things." Her scales turned the brightest blue Danny had ever seen. to love you. Danny pulled the truck over to the side of the road. He turned to face his wife, this strange and wonderful creature who had fallen into his life by accident and changed everything. I love you too, he said. I think I have loved you for a long time. I was just scared to say it. Humans are often scared of saying true things. I have noticed this. Yes, we are. Danny laughed softly. But not anymore. Not with you. They sat together under the purple sky of New Montana. Around them, the fields stretched out forever, full of crops that would feed thousands of people. Above them, the stars wheeled in their eternal patterns. Somewhere out there, the Galactic Companion Service was probably making more mistakes, sending more wrong packages to more lonely people. Danny hoped those mistakes turned out as well as his had. We should go home, Zara said finally. The chickens need to be fed. The chickens can wait 5 more minutes. They will be angry. Let them be angry. Right now, I just want to sit here with you. Zara made her laughing sound. She leaned her head against his shoulder, careful not to put too much weight on him. Danny put his arm around her, reaching as far as he could, which was not very far given her size. It was not a perfect fit. They were different species from different worlds with different everything. By all logic, they should not work, but they did work. Somehow, against all odds, they worked. Danny Cole had ordered a wife and gotten an alien gunslinger instead. It was the best mistake he had ever made. And this was only the beginning of their story.